Hey guys, it's me. It is July the 6th, uh, 2023 at 10:55 p.m. This is New Trains episode number 63. It's been a while since I made any type of New Trains installment. You guys have probably seen over the last couple of months, if not more, I've been doing preview videos with trains that I've bought. Some of those trains aren't in this video, but these are the ones that I bought in like the last 2 months or so, or have built in the last couple months or so. So let's get started with what's in the back, and then we'll work our way towards the front. So you guys have saw my video with the Bombardier jet train. This is still on my workbench, and that's because I want to keep it out and run it a little bit more. I added the silver stripe on the diaphragm here, or the silver paint, to simulate the metal housing for the diaphragm, just like on the front here. And then these are Tyco, I think Tyco cabooses, Tyco or Mantua cabooses, that I custom painted and decaled for the ER&W. They all have Kato roller bearing trucks, KD couplers, and window glazing installed. This is the 118, 117, and 116. So these are the first three that I did. I paid $5 for these, like $5 a piece for these, at the Stroudsburg train shop. And these are a fun little project to do. I did the highlights here for like the molded on railings, and just painting them really enhances the model. And I only chose these because they had the metal end rails. Later versions of these don't have the metal handrails or ladders, they just have the plastic ones. And then in the back here is my American GK E60CH number 972. I've been working heavily on this unit. As you guys can see, I added the MU cables and air hoses, and that's on the rear of the unit as well. I've also added Schummerfeld pantographs. Now, Schummerfeld makes the correct pantographs for the E60 with the correct shoes. I just have to reorder them, but these are just going to be on there for now because I like them. And then I added all the vacuum details and insulators and electrical conduits and stuff on the roof. So this engine's it's pretty much done. I just need to paint some details on the roof to make it look nicer. But yeah, all the detail on that is done. And then we're moving up to the next row. This is my Rapido Turboliner. This is the X2000 demonstrator set. So two of these power cars were specifically repainted to tow. Well, they were repainted, but they were used solely to tow the X2000 train, which you guys have seen videos with this and the X2000 train running. It is a little bit dusty because it's been sitting out here a while, but yeah. And then this is a Marx caboose. I got this for free with a collection of HO and Lionel trains from a customer at my job, and I liked how the caboose was. It started out as a Santa Fe caboose, but I completely re-detailed it. So the ladders are the Athearn blue box ladders that you would find. So I added those to the car. And then the chimney is actually leftover spruce from KD coupler box spruce trees. So like when they come out the packaging, they're on like that little spruce tree. So I just cut one of those down and sanded it and made it into a stack for the caboose. And then it's got friction bearing trucks on it from Kato, and it's got KD shelf couplers front and rear. Nice little caboose. You know, you can find these online for $5 or $8. It's got full windows and everything. So that was a nice little project right there. And you're probably wondering what kind of cars these are here. Well, you guys know me. I like anything that's unusual, and if I can custom make it, I custom make it. These are concrete tie cars. And I've always wanted a concrete tie train, and recently I've been thinking about it more and more. Not only that, but where I live, I see the concrete tie train often, And I basically got fed up to the point where I said, you know what, I'm just going to build my own, because nobody makes these trains in HO scale, which I believe they should, because you make ballast hoppers in HO scale, you make wreck cranes in HO scale. Why not make a concrete tie train in HO scale? Well, there are companies that do make concrete tie trains. This one is from, I think it's Southern Aurora Models from Australia. These came out, I think, back in 2006, 2008, maybe even 2010. They were a two-pack set, and one car would hold the concrete ties, the other car would hold the disposal bins. I picked these up from Trains, Trainz Trains, for like $30 and I did research on these cars for a two-car set. I think they were $150 or $200 for a two-car set. So the only companies that make them now are in Australia, and that's Austrian Models, Aussiction. I think I spelled it right, but I could be wrong. But it's Austrian Models. They make these cars, or they did make them. And for a four-car set, it's $300. But yeah, no U.S. manufacturers make these cars, which I think is silly. Well, and they make them in N scale. Microtrains does, but no HO manufacturer makes these cars. So yeah, these are my different variants of the car. So I have three different types here. These two are the first type. This is the prototype car, and I based these cars pretty much off of this car here. And I built these using styrene and plastic components. Then version 2 of the car is this brown one here. Then version 3, which is actually the most durable of all three, are these three versions here. So these here and this one here. This one's pretty cool. This is actually an Alaskan Railroad concrete tie car. And these other two are ER&W. And yeah. The other ones I left in their as-delivered roads. So this one says Seaboard, this one's Pennsy, this one's Santa Fe, this one's Great Northern, this one's Santa Fe. These two are the same number, they're Santa Fe, and that one's Santa Fe. So I was trying to avoid repainting as much as I could. This one is a New Haven or Lehigh Valley car. I call it the pumpkin car because it's, or Halloween car, I should say. It's the Halloween car. I still got to do some tweaking with that car. The 40-foot cars are not really common because they can only hold one set of concrete ties. So they're not really that popular, whereas the 50-foot cars, all the other cars are 50 foot. They can actually hold both loads. So that's why the 50-foot cars are heavily used and built, because, you know, they can carry two loads, whereas with the 40-footers you need two cars to carry one load each. So the 40-foot cars are not that common. And I think, let's see, some of these cars I paid $5 for. I went to Nicholas Smith Trains and I got like 6 or 8 cars for like $20, which is a steal, because online when you're looking for these Athearn or AHM or Tyco 50-foot cars, one car, like an Athearn Blue Box car, which is this one here, one car is like $17 or $22 for one car. And I was like, no. And then some of these I picked up at Stroudsburg for $5. But yeah, the real bulk of the cars came from Nicholas Smith, where I paid like $20 for 6 cars, and I was like, I can't beat that. So my goal is to actually have a 20-car train, which I think I have 13 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I have a 13-car train right now. Well, technically 14, because that's the other car, but that has the trash bins. Doesn't have concrete ties. But I'm only 8 cars away from making a 20-car concrete tie train. But I kind of slowed down recently with that, because I have pretty much the majority of the train right now. All the cars feature Cottle roller bearing trucks or friction bearing trucks, and they all feature Katy couplers, whether they're the standard couplers or they're the shelf couplers. But these cars have been fun to build. The third design is actually not as durable as the first two. It's more like quick build kind of thing, like trying to outshop as many cars as you can get. So these two red ones, and then these two are the third design, so Type 3. So Type 1, Type 2, and these are Type 3. And, you know, that's pretty much how I'm keeping them like that. But yeah, hopefully I'll get the rest of the train done. Then I got to figure out how to make concrete loads, because the only other way to make them is if I buy a whole bunch of flex track, take the ties off, and I have to cut them to match these here, which I don't want to do. If I can have someone 3D scan these and just reprint them off, then I can make removable loads for all these cars, which is what I want to do. Alright, so now let's move on to the front row here with the locomotives. This here is technically my second Kato SD45 that I've owned. I actually had one a couple years back that was undecorated, but I sold it. Kind of wish I didn't. But this one I found on eBay. It's a complete custom Fantasy Penn Central unit, and I had to buy it because, I mean, look at it. It's got the PC green nose, which is angled and curved, and it's got the black body, and it's got the PC green rear. So, and then I'm still trying to figure out how they custom paint. I don't know how they custom painted these fans, because these are the factory fans from Kato. These aren't separate. These aren't like Canon Company fans where, you know, these are the factory fans, and I'm trying to figure out how they painted the silver fans like that. I mean, the only way to do that was just do it with like a fine, you know, brush. But I think I don't know how they did it. I really don't. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I put KD couplers on it, KD shelf couplers, but the detail on this engine is great. I put DCC in it, so it is DCC equipped. It doesn't have sound yet, but this engine is DCC equipped. And then the next unit, which is the 6219, this is an SD45M-2, which is a rebuilt SD45. It's been detuned from 3,600 horsepower to 3,000 horsepower, and it's technically in the same numbering system as this unit here. It's also an XPC unit. The decals that I used are microscale Burlington Northern decals, so for the front, for the stripes, and then the number boards and the sides are from microscale decals as well, but those are for the Seaboard coastline. And then the keystones are from Circuit City decals, and those are my custom ER&W keystone logos. So let's go to the front pilot here. These are Details West ditch lights, and if you look at how they're mounted, I really wanted to make this unit unique. So they're mounted right here, just outside of the walkway. And if you're wondering what these plates are, it's kind of like a protective shield in a way, because some BC rail units have some type of pilot like this, or I've seen locomotives with, you know, stuff like that. But the reason why I put these plates here is because in order to get this handrail set to fit where the ditch lights are, you have to grind the stanchions, the plastic stanchions on the Kato. So if you look here in this unit, this is the area you have to grind away from the drop step here in order to fit in between the ditch lights. And you use one of these tools, I forget what it's called, but it's like one of those really fine, it's like a cordless drill, but it's a jeweler's tool actually, and you use this type of bit, I forget what it is, but that's what I use to get all that. And then I use styrene here to brace it and to make it stronger. So this is technically not glued in because this part is missing here, so I need to find another front handrail. It's going to be a pain to rebuild it, so I'm going to try to like buy a new set and then graft the piece that's missing onto this one here. But it's got Tinchy grab irons all the way around. I think it's got cow scale lift rings. The firecracker antenna is custom made by me. It's just a piece of metal wire, and then it's got an M5 horn. And then going to the rear of the unit, oh, there it is. And then It's got the wheat color plows front and rear, cow scale MU cables. The number boards are painted by me and decaled by me. So the colors are Tamiya. So it's Tamiya Brilliant Blue, and the fuel tank is Silver Leaf. The white for the railings is actually what is it called? I think it's Floquil. No, Testers. I'm sorry. The white is Testers. So what I found out is you can technically use Tamiya paints on the railings, but it tends to flake off. But if you use Testers paint on these plastic railings, it doesn't flake off as easily. Actually, I haven't had any flaking off with this at all. It's actually on there pretty solid. And then everything is sealed with Testers dull coat because I ran out of Tamiya. I ran out of the Tamiya version. So you can technically use different dull coats with different paints as long as the paint is completely dry. So as long as the paint's completely dry, you can use a different company's dull coat or clear coat on the model as long as the paint's fully dry. Yeah. And then moving on here, this is actually my first genset diesel. I bought this from Nicholas Smith a couple months ago. I originally bought it because I was going to turn it into a SEPTA unit, but then I started doing some research online, and these engines, this particular version of the genset is extremely hard to get, and they're very expensive if you do find them. So I'm actually going to keep this as it is. I put KD couplers on it. I might change the MU cables on here because they're just the dull Atlas ones with, I mean, if you look at the ones I installed, or the ones installed on these units here compared to them, it's kind of bland. But I will be putting DCC in this eventually. This unit here is my Class 34 EMD export unit. It's a South African Railways unit. It's a Lima model, and I super detailed it. So it came with these, and considering what it is, it actually has a good drive in it. It has a, you could put a cam motor in this if you wanted to, but the rear truck is powered, the front truck is not, but that's where it picks up the power from. But considering the model and when it was made, it's actually a pretty good model. As you guys can see, I super detailed it, so I put the different air horns on it, I put a bell. I redid the pilot because the pilot was originally connected to the trucks here, so when the truck would turn, the whole pilot would turn, which is very unprototypical. So I actually took styrene and I built up the pilots front and rear. One's mounted to the chassis, one's mounted to the body, and I added KD couplers and MU cables to it, front and rear. And I painted the pilots yellow because they were like adult, they were like black, and I thought they would look cool in a yellow because the unit has a yellow stripe. So I thought it looks cool. And you know, if you look at compared to the genset, I mean, it's pretty. And if you look at American EMD, and this is a South African EMD, it's like way different. Like it looks so much smaller compared to these other HO engines. And then this is my MK German diesel. I can't pronounce the name, but you guys know what it is. This is by River Rossi. I've actually had one of these before, but it was a Southern Pacific unit, but the shell was so bad that I ended up getting rid of that shell. But this one I found at a train store. Well, it's actually a train store thrift shop. It's right by the Stroudsburg train shop, but it's on the right-hand side. So, like, if you're passing the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania on the left, and you're coming past, I think it's called J Tower. Just after J Tower, there's like a house-looking building off to the right. That's actually like another train store. Like, he sells trains, model cars, CDs, DVDs, like old, like big discs, like the big recording discs. I forget what they're called. 8-tracks. He sells 8-tracks, I think. Like all kinds of stuff. But he sells trains too. And I picked this one up, I think, for like 28 bucks. And the only reason why I bought it is because it ran perfectly. Like, as soon as you put it on the track, it ran. And I thought in my head, I said, it would be interesting to super detail this engine and I just went out and bought different parts from Scale, Details West, you know, just to detail this model. And just by you looking at the front, you would never know it's a Riverosa unit unless you know what to look for. But I especially put this plow on here, and I followed pictures of the real thing. And then I added the air hose, MU cables, obviously. I painted it rubber black because the rubber black which is Tamiya, actually matches the chassis color. And then I did the same thing to the rear of the unit with the MU cables and air hoses. It does have a KD coupler here. I do plan on finishing this unit with, I got to put windows all along the sides of the unit here. But I like this unit, and it's a great unit. If I don't ever put DCC in it, I might like make it into a dummy, or I might make it like a display piece on my layout. Same thing with this one here. But Pico USA is actually bringing these out later this year in Southern Pacific. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they bring it out in Rio Grande. But yeah, Pico is going to be releasing these, and I think they're going to be $330 or something like that, which sound in DCC. But I might pick up one because I always wanted an SP one. I need to get an SP one again. But I want to see how the Pico model looks and functions. So this is what I've been working on, guys. I'm also cutting back with the spending on model trains. I'm pretty much at a position right now where I have everything that I've ever wanted. Now it's time to be, you know, buckling down and just saving more of my money to buy a house, because it doesn't do me any good to have all this stuff and I don't have a layout to run it on. So I'm really just gearing up for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh, I almost forgot. This has DCC in it too. So these two have DCC. So I almost forgot that. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I will be making more new trains videos very shortly. I am still going to buy a couple things here and there. I will try to make more of these concrete tie cars, but if not, I might have to just buy a set that's still for sale online. I don't want to spend $300 for one set though. So I mean, for $300 I could probably build like 30 of these cars. So maybe not that many, but you know, I'm finicky when it comes to buying trains right now, because if I can get a deal and get more bang for my buck, then I'm going to do it. But yeah, you guys be cool. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Bye, y'all.